Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to make cold air intake just a little bit colder. So we've popped the hood, and what we've got here is the Z22 SE 2.2 litre, and over here you can see my custom built cold air intake. I've built that myself just to maximise the airflow and try to get a bit of cold air into that engine. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be wrapping this intake hose here, because that still gets quite warm when I'm driving and I want to maximise my cold air intake. We're also going to look at the actual intake itself that comes in and see if we can put a bit more free flow onto that. So what I've got is some heat wrap that's left over from my exhaust wrapping that I did a couple of videos back, and we're just going to use that to wrap up our hose here and hopefully keep that heat out of the air. Well, we've talked about it long enough, so let's hook in. Now that we have removed that, let's start on removing this primary intake here. We've undone 2 screws and some clips. Now we just have to try our best to try and jimmy it out, because it is hooked on over the radiator. But with a bit of persuasion, I'm sure we can make it happen.
One eternity later.
With a fair bit of motivation, we've managed to get this out. So these are designed to reduce the airflow before they go into the stock systems. Now, we don't have a stock system, so we don't have to worry about reducing this airflow. I want as much cold air coming through as possible. So, alright guys, let's get on to the wrapping process. I've got some leftover exhaust wrap. Now I know this stuff will work and it's going to give a nice finish to the pipe as well. I also have aluminium foil tape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double up. I'm going to go with my aluminium foil first up and wrap as best I can, not worrying too much about how it looks at the end, because I'm then going to come behind it with my exhaust wrap and give it that really nice finish so it looks good and it gives that extra bit of heat protection. Well, let's stop mucking around. Let's get into it. Okay, so far we've got the intake hose wrapped up with the aluminium foil tape. Now we're going to wrap it up with the exhaust wrap that we've got left over, and that's going to look really good when it's finished. So the good thing with this particular exhaust wrap, we don't actually need to wet it to apply it. Right, let's throw it on there. Well, that's that wrapped. That wasn't too hard to do. I did have to pull it really tight because it's not going on an exhaust and it is exhaust wrap. I'm not going to get the same heat as an exhaust to let this actually set in, so I've had to pull it nice and tight. What I did after that is I came with a blowtorch and I've given it a good heat up. Just takes out any of those extra little burrs that are sticking out, gives it that nice smooth finish, as well as heats up the wrap, giving it that nice set around the bends, and we should be good to go. Right, let's go focus on the air collector. Alright, so this is the old collector that I've pulled out, which is the stock collector, and we're going to see if we can come up with some sort of new system. So what we've done is we've gone to eBay and I've got myself a little collector, and that's going to sit in the front of the grill, and the idea is just to get a straight pipe directly to the airbox. Unfortunately, this is the hose that it comes with, and that's pretty much just tin foil with a little bit of wire wrapped around it. It will work, but I'm not happy with the quality. So we're gonna come up with something a bit better. No good. We're gonna go with this. The way I'm gonna make this sit on the collector itself, because the collector is a smaller diameter, is a rubber hose reducer. So that's gonna go from the 3-inch down to the 2-inch. And that is gonna sit nicely on the collector. The collector itself didn't quite fit where the original one was, which was just here, that little gap is. Because directly behind that, we have our oil stick, as well as the throttle body. We don't have much room directly behind where the original one went, but ideally we wanted that shorter space. Looks like we're gonna have to go to the right hand side, because I've got ample space behind. So we're gonna connect that hose and run it into our airbox. Alright, step 1 is complete. Now the next step is to try and get this down to the airbox. Alright, that is stage 2. Highly recommend, if you are going to do something like this, maybe go with a smaller hose. This was an absolute bitch to get in, but we persevere and we got her in. Now we're going to focus on hooking her up to the front of the airbox and then making sure everything's nice and secure before we chuck the intake hose and the cone back on. So I've sealed that on. Then we'll just tighten her up. We should have a good bond. Alright, let's go ahead and throw the other parts back on. Moment of truth. We'll see if this fits with the wrapping on. Neat trick, when things are a little bit tight, grab some lube. I'll save you a headache. Let's try again. Now we'll just go ahead and connect up the last little hoses. And there we have it. That's finished product. All done. New intake collector, new hoses, wrapped hose through the cold air intake. Alright guys, now that we've got everything wrapped up and connected back on, let's start the car up and see how she sounds. Now, is this going to improve my horsepower? The answer is, I don't know, but it came out looking really good, and if it does improve even by 1 horse, then I'm happy with that. Well, cheers for watching guys. As always, I will leave all the links to the parts and pieces that I've used in the description below. If you got something out of this or you just enjoyed watching, leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.